Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Visit huluplus.com/allaboutandroid to start your free 2-week trial. That's huluplus.com/allaboutandroid. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 137, recorded Tuesday, November 26th, 2013. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
There we go.
And I'm Gina Trapani.
Brought to you by Skype Lag. Ron, you're in New York, right? In Stanley Kubrick's study, is that right?
Yeah, we've transported this set from The Shining to Long Island, and that's where I am. So,
wow, I don't envy you at all.
And I've inherited David Lynch's hair. So.
This actually, now it's totally working for me. We have our guest, Joe Braidwood. He's been on a bunch of times before. He's the chief marketing officer at SwiftKey. On his way, he got stuck in just an intense amount of traffic on the way, something that you are very familiar with, Ron. Yes, there's Joe. This is where he will be sitting when he flies in, and I do mean fly in because he has wings. So we'll see what happens there. We have a lot to talk about, though, this week, and I think he's probably going to be joining us sooner rather than later, so we'll see him shortly. We'll be discussing how you move from iOS to Android. At least Eric Schmidt had some fancy little tips on that. The early arrival of the Moto G. App permissions, something we thought were gone, seem to be back, and a lot more. But first, Gina, I know that you have the HTC One. Have you got the update yet?
I have not gotten the update pushed down to me yet.
Okay.
I know there are places you can download it and kind of force it, but I've been waiting to just get the push, and I have not gotten it yet. Though I do keep checking with increased urgency. Now I want it. But my old Nexus 7 is actually in the middle of updating right now. Oh, it appears to be done. Yes, I have the white status bar there, notification bar there. So that's exciting. So
no Google experience on the Nexus 7, right? It's just a straight up launcher.
It does look just like the straight up launcher. Yeah. Actually, my Nexus 7 is sort of stuttering, like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's sort of redrawing all the widgets right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm KitKatless on the phone and halfway there on the tablet.
You're going to get there. The HTC One obviously is pushing out. That's why I asked, of course. And then the S4, the Galaxy S4 is another one that I guess is pushing out to at least the Google Experience versions.
Google
of
Play
those.
Edition.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Dan Morrill. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Hey, what do you know? No, don't be sorry.
Nice to see you. Sorry about that. Yeah. It was like not one problem, not two, but three. And it was like, oh yeah, Google
seriously,
Maps. We'll take this detour.
But you ended up kind of locking into Waze and figuring your way.
Yeah, so it's always one of those things where it's like, is this working?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like is taking this detour that seems totally counterintuitive actually gonna?
Do you trust Google and Waze?
Yeah, and then it was working really well until we hit more traffic. Anyway, we're here.
Yeah, awesome. Well,
sorry about the delay.
Oh yeah, don't even apologize at all. I've been stuck in that traffic a million times. It's frustrating when it pairs down to those few lanes.
Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Joe. I actually introduced you before you got here, but Joe Braidwood, Chief Marketing Officer at SwiftKey. And yeah, thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Talk about all the world of Android. It kind of seemed like it was going to be a little bit of a slow week leading up to, at least here in the U.S., the Thanksgiving holiday. Yeah, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, so why don't we just jump right into it and get to the news.
Eric Schmidt has some holiday advice for those of you looking for the perfect gift for the people in your life who own an iPhone. I love this. Eric posted in his personal Google Plus feed a straight up like Lifehacker / eHouse style step-by-step how to switch from the iPhone to Android. Eric Schmidt's easy 4-step guide to switching from iPhone to Android. I sort of love this. It is 4 steps. Each step kind of has sub-steps. So it's like step 1, A through E. Step 2, A through E. But it's basically, you know, get yourself a new Android phone, turn it on, log into your Google account, and then update your iPhone and iPad to, you know, sync your contacts to Google so that they all appear on your Android phone. Sync all your iTunes music to Google Play Music, and then transfer your SIM from the iPhone to the Android, and you're done. Oh yeah, and use Chrome. Stop using Safari. So I sort of love that he wrote this post, because, like, this guy, like, I don't know, he just, I think it's great that he did this like kind of straight servicey tech blog post about how to switch. And I sort of love what was interesting about this transition post is that now, like this year, Google has all the equivalents. You know, like it has an answer to what do I do with my iTunes library. You know, it has an answer to how do I get my contacts over from my iPhone without having to plug anything in anywhere or go to a store and say, please help me. Right? You can do it yourself. It's so it's nice. It's nice. And so, you know, whatever. Obviously, this is just a marketing thing, you know, for him to sort of get attention and, you know, show people how to do this. But I thought it was funny that he kind of rolled up his sleeves and wrote the step by step.
When I first saw this post, I questioned whether or not he actually wrote it or if someone wrote it and then they just posted it on his page.
Right. It's possible that he had one of his minions write it.
Maybe I'm being a bit too much of a skeptic there, but I do like the idea of him sitting there going, "I feel like I need to write this because I'm getting this question a lot." But you do bring up a good point. Is that I've had a lot of friends who've been on iOS who've been frustrated with the new iOS 7 and asking about Android and asking, "Can I port this? How do you do that?" So you're starting to get those questions, and I didn't even think about it until you made that point that all the services line up now, and it's actually probably easier than ever. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this week in the U.S. at least is like, you know, help your parents with their computer week, right? Like everybody goes home and like, you know, helps out, you know, has the conversations with the family about technology, and then maybe, you know, you buy that new tech for the holidays. So it's sort of, this is the time to be like, this is how you switch your family away from that bad, you know, piece of tech that's difficult to deal with. And I just, you know, it used to be, you know, install Firefox instead of Internet Explorer, and then it was, you know, Chrome, and then it used to be like install virus scanners on your parents', you know, Windows machine. And now I feel like Schmidt is sort of trying to cast the switch from iPhone to Android kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, we're going to talk about it in the hardware section at least, but you know, Motorola's Moto G low-cost device turns out is coming out here. We'll pull this a little closer. This is perfect timing, obviously, for the holidays. And yeah, you read through this, and I couldn't help but ask myself the same question: like, is this really coming from Eric Schmidt? On one hand, it feels kind of marketing / promotional, like here's the thing to post on your Google Plus. On the other hand, I could kind of totally see him writing this and just like, as a little, you know, late night, like relaxing, like I'm gonna go ahead and tell people why Android is so great and how they can move on over. So
wasn't this the guy who used a BlackBerry up until like fairly recently in the last few years? Wasn't he using a BlackBerry there for a while after Android had gotten released? So I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. I also think it's totally promotional marketing. So.
It worked.
It got attention. We just talked about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's see here. So we have, okay, so this has been a very common thing, a common question. We get emails about this all the time. Chromecast. What's going on with Chromecast? Chromecast SDK actually might be right around the corner. Google has invited several developers to a Chromecast hackathon taking place December 7th through the 8th. Google says developers will actually have the opportunity to test drive the new Cast SDK. And couldn't come a minute too soon. I think this is something they needed to do a long time ago. Do you have the Chromecast?
Yeah, I bought one, and I'll confess it's kind of sat there at the back of my TV, plugged in, not really doing very much. So, I played with it. I streamed a Netflix documentary. I was like, yeah, this is really cool for $35. But, you know, then it was like, what am I going to do when I want to watch HBO? I've got to switch to Apple TV or the Samsung TV device.
Although HBO Go now
they've launched it.
So they've done a few very key kind of, you know, pull-ins of developers, but it really needs to open up wide.
I think, you know, the second they go liberal on it, I think it's going to be a really, really cool device. And that's when it'll be more like the Google way, you know? So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I'm curious what a hackathon will yield. I mean, like there's been, the hackathon is a kind of common practice to get developers to kind of embrace and to, utilize the SDK and make cool stuff. But it's also kind of like spec work. And so it's kind of curious to see what will come out of it.
It is. But having said that, I mean, there was a hackathon very recently that was pretty darn significant. And I think we talked about it either last week or the week before on the show. I think it was actually last week. The Google Glass hackathon is where they unveiled kind of all of the extended capabilities for developers on the Glass SDK and kind of revealed what that extension was going to be outside of the Mirror API. So it does happen. Google, and Google obviously also did mention the whole test drive of the Cast SDK. So there's something there, whether that means it's going to be released or merely just kind of teased a little bit and, here's what we're working on. What do you think? And then another couple of months. I really hope that isn't the case.
I mean, it's a good timing for people who are going to maybe buy it for the holidays or for Thanksgiving. On Black Friday, someone said there's a deal for $29, which is just so cheap for a device.
Oh yeah, that's stocking stuffer territory.
Right. So any
for
kind
something
of
that's pretty darn capable, or has potential to be.
Yeah. So it's like, if you can seed that out there now, it just maybe will make people think, yeah, maybe I will get one of those for the stocking or
And basically any app that does any sort of media streaming or photos or video, like could afford to have a Chromecast button in it, like any mobile app, you know what I mean? So the hackathon is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, even if, you just want to get a developer from every sort of major app out there, into the hackathon, be like, here's how to add the button in and make your app, native Chromecastable. I don't know if that's a term. I mean, it is kind of spec work, but it's also in the interest of, of those companies if, so many people have a Chromecast, and especially if they're going to get it for the holidays.
Sure.
So it'd be interesting to see. I just want to see more apps supported.
Yeah.
I want to see that button more often.
Yeah, you want to make it a bit more relevant and a bit more less kind of gimmicky or hobbyist. Like you want to have some like killer app that will be like, yes, this is absolutely why you need it. I mean, we've talked about it before. Like I have one. I bought one because it was so cheap. But with my Google TV, I'm not going to replace it. I know I'm in a minority with the Google TV, and they're probably shifting. I don't know how that's all going to play out, but I've yet to meet anybody who's like, I've got the Chromecast and it changed my life. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Well, and it's kind of tricky because it's a theme that comes up, and I know that we've talked about it a lot on the show in the past, in particular with Google, where they announce something / release something, and it has a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement, totally has this potential that's crazy, and then radio silence for months. And and obviously I understand why that's happening. They're working hard on it. They haven't completely dropped it, and forgotten about it and moved on to something else. They have a team actively working on it to bring it up to a certain level so that it can be successful when it's launched. The problem is you don't capitalize off of that instant kind of that initial buzz.
It's so difficult
upon launch. And I'm sure that's easier said than done.
I mean, we have a similar dilemma every day, which is, we're working on new features, we're sort of trying to innovate, we're trying to build great stuff, and you want to show everyone instantly when it's not ready. And then you have this dilemma of, well, here's this really cool concept that we put together, but it will be ready in 2015. So, how are you going to keep people entertained for that period of time?
Totally.
And it's so different to, I guess, what Apple have been doing, which is, hey, we've launched this and you can buy it now, or you can buy it tomorrow. And that kind of intent from the consumer that seems to really, convert into instant sales. I prefer the Google approach. I think that going for like open innovation, showing people what you're building and getting them on board with it and trying to build those ecosystems is definitely more exciting, but it obviously comes at a cost in terms of, I want to get my hands on this.
Yeah.
Google Glass is another great example, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But they've done a good job of creating, continuing buzz around Google Glass in kind of different ways. Even though nobody can get their hands on it, it's still a conversation piece.
I'm going tomorrow.
It comes up pretty regularly. Going tomorrow
to the Glass studio in San Francisco to pick up a headset,
excellent.
which is good.
Cool.
So, they've started to seed out these Explorer program invites, and I hear it's like this space age place where they give you a beer and talk you through it.
Yeah.
There's snacks and food. Yeah, there's snacks and drinks there. Just a quick word about the Chromecast. Like, it hasn't changed my life, but I gave away my Google TV. I don't use it anymore. I feel like I deleted like 3 inputs on the back of my TV. I like cleared away everything in my entertainment center. It's just basically my DVR and the Chromecast now. Wow. I used to have a Roku. I don't use it anymore. I used to have a Google TV. I don't use it anymore. I used to have wiring setups that I could connect my computer. I don't use that anymore. I do that all through the Chromecast now. So while I'm not like I don't know how I lived without this, which is how I felt about things like the TiVo, for example, the DVR. It definitely helped me just get rid of a bunch of stuff I didn't feel like I needed. I rarely fire up my Xbox anymore. Whenever I do, there's a ton of updates. So I do Netflix and basically anything else through the Chromecast at this point. I feel like it's just a good clear out all the space of all the boxes under your TV.
Consolidator.
Consolidators. At least it has been for me, especially with the move. I just realized I don't use any of this other stuff.
And for the move, it'll be a lot easier to pack that Chromecast than anything else. Really, just put it in your pocket.
Indeed, it's true. That
With its
can come on
power
plane
supply
with
in the other pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
right.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential, and I really hope that once they open this up, we see some really cool things. I always hear people talking about gaming, which is not something that I think of when I think of Chromecast, but probably only because there hasn't been a whole lot of gaming with Chromecast.
It's the next console.
You're right. That's an interesting kind of next step for it. Ron, you like your wallet. You like your Google Wallet.
Well, speaking of Google and innovation and rolling out things, releasing a product and going dormant for it and then releasing a new aspect of it, the long-awaited Google Wallet card is a reality. This is something I feel like, Jason, we've been talking about this for like a year now, maybe?
And, well, it's been a couple of months since it was rumored.
Yeah.
Last week, you were not on last week, right? You were out last week. We actually had a conversation about Coin, which is,
I just ordered one. It was one of those moments where you were like, the video... You see this guy in his plaid shirt, you just have to.
You're like, yes!
Yeah,
It's like freedom for everybody.
Yeah, the day Coin came out, like the day it got released, I think I saw maybe half the webpage, and I was like, done. Purchase it. Yeah,
they're even advertising it on the piece that we're reading about Google Wallet. So, I mean, they're smart people, right? They know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
But to explain what the Google Wallet card is, so users who have Google Wallet and use Google Wallet now can get a physical credit card that can be used to access your Google Wallet balance wherever MasterCard is accepted. So you can use it to swipe and make charges to, or use it at ATMs or whatever. What's interesting is that it doesn't allow you to pay via all the accounts synced with your Google Wallet. Rather, you have to load your Google Wallet balance. So essentially, it's just like when PayPal rolled out a PayPal card years ago that lets you access your PayPal balance. They're just kind of catching up in that regard. But it does show Google Wallet kind of extending off of the phone onto a physical card and potentially allow more people to utilize the service. And they're rolling in more offers. It seems like every time I put a Google Wallet, there's more local offers and more things like that, kind of similar to the similar approach the Pay by Square took with Square, by working with local retailers and stores and things like that to make it worth using. Whether or not it beats Coin, I don't know. I don't think so. But if you are living on Google Wallet, this is like I signed up for mine. This is going to be a must-have. So once you go to the site and kind of registered or activated, it takes about 10 to 12 days, and you get your card in the mail.
Wade County in the chat room says, got my card yesterday. Looks pretty cool.
Nice.
There you go.
Would you be able to use the Google Wallet card with Coin? I mean, could you add it as one of your coins?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Right?
That's Inception right there. Makes my brain hurt.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Because it's still spinning.
I'm gonna try.
I guess so. It's just a payment source. It's just like a MasterCard. It would work.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to manage your Google Wallet balance and keep that in mind. But why not? So cool.
But could you use your coin in Google? No, you definitely couldn't. It doesn't work that way.
No. Too much.
Not as intriguing. So we have an email, and actually this email, Gina, is very applicable to what you got going on right now in the background.
Yes, I do. It's true. Okay, so we got an email. Hey, AAA crew. So my Nexus 7, the first gen, got the update to KitKat this weekend. And I'm a little disappointed. You've mentioned some of the goodness you've been experiencing on your Nexus 5s, but the 7 doesn't seem to have the same goodness, like OK Google from the locker home screen. I still have the widgets tab in the app drawer, and I can't create new home screens by dragging widgets or shortcuts. And am I missing something, or are Google making the phone and tablet experience completely different? Enjoy the show. Regards, Graham Brown. Graham, I just updated my first gen Nexus 7, literally like just before the show started.
I love it when things work like that.
I know. And you're right. I also still have the widgets tab and the dragging. I have the white status bar, which is like the only reason why I knew it was done. So Yeah, you're right. I actually don't know what the answer to this question is. I don't know why the tablet experience does seem to be slightly different. But you can install the Google Experience Launcher if you're willing to use a little elbow grease. Fandroid actually wrote up a piece on how to install the Gel or the Google Experience Launcher. You actually have to side load a couple of files. It comes with the Google Search, the new Google Search update, which you probably have gotten.
Right.
But you also have to side load a couple of other files in order to enable it. And I haven't had a chance to try this yet. I'm gonna try it after the show. But you'll get some of the extra KitKat goodness.
Well, so what it is exactly, from what I understand, is basically when you have the new search, which everybody probably does already, the launcher stuff is tied into it already, right? Like we've talked about that on past episodes, but you're not seeing the Google experience, the Gel overlay. That's because, and I have it on the Nexus 5, they have the APK for that particular launcher that they pulled from the Nexus 5 that you can install as an APK. And that basically taps into the launcher stuff that's stored in the search app and activates it. So, and Google did say when the Nexus 5 came out, that the Nexus 5 was going to be the device that has that experience,
right.
That not all devices would get it. They get the update to KitKat, but they wouldn't necessarily get the Google Experience Launcher. This is just a way to wake up the Google Experience Launcher, and I have to imagine, anyways, that this APK for the launcher eventually is going to hit the Play Store at some time, and Google's going to say, yes, now everybody can do this.
I'm still hooked on AV8 personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's changed everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I'm like one of these folks that can't organize anything like to save my life. So if it does it for me, it's great.
Okay. And I installed AV8 and I actually talked about it on the show, and I appreciated the design of it, but it's really hard for me to navigate away from the traditional launcher.
Yeah, it's like
partly because we do this show.
Right.
I feel like I kind of need to, but
yeah,
my brain works so well in that it's hard for me to.
I've even started using Foursquare again because it's always trying to figure out where I am, and it's like, where are you going and what you're doing, and yeah, I think it's great. So I don't know, Google has to win me over yet.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Independent developers. Definitely biased.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go, Graham. Hopefully that answers the question. It is possible to get that on your device if you want to install that launcher APK. That should work. Take a look, though, at the walkthrough that we have at the show notes, twit.tv/AAA. Wait a minute. Wiki.twit. Whatever. I'll say it at the end of the show. You'll get it then. But anyways, take a look at the show notes. My brain is not working right now. Okay, so let's take a break and thank our sponsor for today's episode. This episode is brought to you by Hulu Plus. You've probably tried Hulu.com. Hulu Plus is so much more than Hulu.com. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere, on your device. I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to Hulu Plus and pull it up on my phone here so I can kind of show it off to you while I talk about it. Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite TV shows. They've got Jimmy Kimmel Live, Shark Tank, Family Guy. They've just got a bunch of stuff in here. You get kind of this trending area so you can see what everybody else is watching, and just a ton of movies. Ooh, Scarface, that's a good one. I'm sure they have some Christmas and Thanksgiving themed stuff in here so that you can watch something that's maybe a little bit more applicable to the holiday season right now. But they just have a ton of great content in here, and you can just kind of navigate through the Hulu Plus app on your device, tablet as well as phone. Find what you want to watch. They have exclusive content, including Hulu originals. They have originals like The Wrong Man's and Behind the Mask, which is actually Hulu's new docuseries that takes you inside the world of sports mascots. Pretty cool stuff there. You also get access to a collection of ad-free movies, as I said, and kids content. There's a ton of kids content through here. I know I just passed by it. There we go. Hulu Kids, all sorts of stuff. Caillou. Come on. There's Caillou fans out there. I know I watch Caillou every morning. I actually do because my kid loves Caillou. But still, if I wanted to, I've got Caillou for my daughter here in the app. For only $7.99 a month, you can catch up on current shows, you can binge on old favorites, or catch a great movie, stream as many TV shows and movies as you want wherever you want. So here's what you can do. Right now, you can try Hulu Plus for free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/allaboutandroid. That's a special offer for our listeners. Make sure you use huluplus.com/allaboutandroid so you get the extended free trial. Normally, it's a 1-week trial. With huluplus.com/allaboutandroid, you get 2 weeks. And that also lets them know that we sent you. That's important. We want them to know that. So we thank Hulu Plus for their support of Twit and All About Android. We hope you enjoy watching instantly with Hulu Plus. Check it out. Start your 2-week free trial. And you're probably going to sign up for it once you're done. All right. Let's take a look at some hardware. Cool Motorola stuff happening lately. Man, obviously it was a good idea for Motorola and Google to get together because now they do pretty crazy stuff together. First of all, we have, let's see here, the surprise announcement of the Moto G launching early. So essentially this was supposed to come out in January of next year in a few months. And Motorola just kind of went ahead and released the Moto G early. It's on sale today. $179 off contract is the starting price. And
it's just so cheap.
I mean,
so great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Finally.
And you know, it has a few downsides compared to its bigger kind of pairing of the Moto X. Doesn't have LTE, doesn't have the hands-free voice, and a few of those other neat features. But I mean, it's a pretty great phone, well designed, and I mean, you cannot deny the $179 unlocked as far as a purchase price. Again, stocking stuffer, kind of.
I know
expensive
what I'm
stocking
my
stuffer, but it would fit.
now.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's exactly it, right? Yeah. It's kind of like, oh well, you know, I want
bright colors.
My family, a family member of mine wants a smartphone. I never know what to offer to them, and all they ever want is the free phone that you get when you sign up for a 2-year contract. This is within the realm of, instead of doing that, why not pay for this outright? Don't have to renew your contract, and you get an awesome
SIM card
to
be free.
Yeah.
And this is so that middle of the bell curve kind of option, especially with all those color backgrounds and things like that for the customization. I mean, you're right. It's the average user who wants a new good phone, and getting it off contract at under $200 is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm guessing it comes with the stock Google experience, as all Moto phones
now
as well.
Yes, exactly. A similar kind of near stock experience or whatever.
Finessed Motorola experience.
And I'm not even sure if I mentioned on the show, but my wife got the Moto X shortly after I got the Nexus 5 and upgrading from the Galaxy Nexus. And man, it's such a great phone. Motorola is more and more, they're just impressing me with kind of their direction and what they're doing right now. Their thought process around all this stuff.
That's Leo's favorite phone too, right? The Moto X is Leo's favorite phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although my wife has dropped it twice in the past since she got it 2 weeks ago, and she's getting it replaced. She's never dropped her phone ever, and then she gets the Moto X. She drops it twice in a week.
She's so excited, She's just
I know.
Wow.
Either that, or if she's dropping it twice in a week, I'm like, is it hard to hold on to? Like, you've never dropped a phone before, and now this one.
What customizations did she go for? Did she?
No, she didn't go for any, actually.
Oh,
She
wow.
got it at Costco. The day after she bought it, they announced customization for Verizon. They did it. So
too bad.
Poor timing there.
But
she
maybe in the
didn't
new
care.
replacement one, she can.
Yeah, I know. They won't let her do that.
Oh, it's annoying when they do that. Happened to
Yeah.
me recently. I got the S4 and it like fogged up on the screen, so I took it back and I was like, "Can I switch it out for a different one?" And they're like, "Nope, you got to stay with exactly what you ordered because it's under insurance and all that stuff."
And refurbished, probably.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Continuing on with the kind of cool things Motorola is doing, CEO Dennis Woodside of Motorola told CNET that ultimately Motorola wishes to allow customers to customize screen size, processor speed, memory, but that a lack of standards makes that difficult at the moment. Obviously, Project Ara, which we talked about recently, is how they tackle that goal, which he said is a ways away. But maybe not too far, because Motorola actually just did a multi-year development deal with 3D Systems, who are going to be Moto's exclusive fulfillment partner for the 3D printed Ara parts. That's thanks to John Mediocre on the AAA subreddit for pointing that out. But so they're making deals, and Project Ara, the modular device, is becoming more and more a reality. Again, Motorola doing some really cool stuff.
Awesome.
Can we just for another minute, just in awe, 3D printed phones, people.
I know,
this
right?
Is amazing. This is amazing.
And 3D Systems, this is not the only time that they're doing this kind of thing. They actually have a deal with Staples right now that allows customers to custom order parts that they will print and can be
Like
picked
print
up at
on
the store.
demand at the Staples. So
Yeah.
you're gonna walk
I
into
mean,
the Staples,
come on,
go up
that's
to
so cool.
kiosk,
Yeah.
be like, I want this, and it's gonna just like poop it out,
So
as I like to
wait-
say, like right on the spot,
Yeah.
like a sandwich.
Wait, did you say poop it out like a sandwich?
Well, maybe. Yeah, okay, that was gross.
No, just an interesting.
No,
Anyways.
that's disturbing. So
I was,
we need to.
yeah, I was thinking, make it for you, like,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, okay.
Sorry. What were you gonna say, Ron? Before you were broken.
I'm stuck on poop it out like a sandwich.
Okay.
That was me thinking, 3D printing was all about like organ transplant.
Well, yeah,
That eventually.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It kind of that speaks to my ignorance about 3D printing. But my understanding is that 3D printing is great because it can, if you're missing a screw from your IKEA bookshelf, whatever, you can print out the screw for that, whatever. But can it handle like electronics and like how does that work? Like, isn't there actual circuitry and stuff like that involved in these elements for the for Project Aria? And so you can print out the shell and then you slide in the chip, or like how like
That would be my guess.
You can print the chip, I think. The material that you put together, just as long as you have the right composites. I'm not an expert on this, but
yeah,
I did go to a talk on it once, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
You can print a lot of
You can
stuff.
print
turns
DNA
out.
now. I mean, that's where we've got to. So if you can print DNA, you can do circuit boards.
yeah, I guess so. I guess
Yeah,
so.
I
That
think
makes
it might.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about this either, as far as like what's capable with 3D printing.
just
In my
amazing.
head, I thought, okay, the parts that it seats into, maybe, and then,
Yeah.
the
No,
actual
because
chips and
It
circuit
can
board
pull
and all
in the
that.
metals, and it can pull in everything.
Yeah.
Like the guy that was talking, it was the Autodesk. I think he was the chief innovation officer. He had pulled off BitTorrent that morning some plans for a gun, and 3D printed it in their office and brought it to this talk.
Right, but was it a working gun?
It was a fully functional gun made out of plastic, so it didn't work, but it would have worked if it had been printed out of metal.
Right, but again, a gun is, and now it's a total tangent, but a gun is fairly mechanical parts, from what I understand. There's no electronics involved. But with a phone thing, don't you need some sort of metal element, conductive, That's why I get very confused by this. I think it's totally cool, and that we're 3D printing phones or phone elements, but I'm more curious as to exactly in what capacity, because I can't imagine you can print the shell of it and then they give you the microcircuitry board to put it into. Yeah, so it's very it's strange.
I have to imagine if it's not possible yet, it will be.
It will be, yeah, I'm sure. Anyway,
But yeah,
so
I
3D
honestly I don't know the answer to that. Still very cool, interesting stuff. Finally, just real quick, Motorola eased up on developer edition devices. Apparently, so they sell the developer edition devices and tout the fact that you can unlock the bootloader, but if you choose to do so, you immediately void the warranty.
So it's the same difference.
So it's like, okay, so then why would, anyways, of course developers are going to do it anyways, but Motorola is basically saying, you know what, no longer, that doesn't make any sense. So they're not going to void your warranty if you choose to do that with a developer edition device. They're also posting factory images for their devices on the site, which is nice. Thanks to NGT Wolf in the subreddit for pointing that one out too. Got a couple of cool stuff, cool things from the subreddit on today's episode. So there we go. Motorola doing awesome stuff. Go
Awesome.
Moto.
Well, Samsung isn't really going to be. They don't want to hold back and sit idle. They got to keep on innovating. And just when you thought that they can't go big, they go big again. They announced the Samsung Galaxy Grand 2, which is a 5.25 inch, which I find very funny that it is now the same size as a floppy disk. 5.25 inch. 5.25 inch phone with 1280 by 720 display with a 16:9 aspect ratio. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz quad core processor, 8 gig of storage, an SD card slot. Got dual SIM capability, which is interesting. Running Android 4.3, and it's coming in white, black, and pink in quote-unquote selective regions, and no price has been announced yet. So if you need to keep up with the Joneses and want a big phone, this might be your new phone.
So this is like a 1/4 inch smaller than the Note.
Yeah,
Yep.
Samsung doing what they do best, filling every single size point across the
So
ruler.
is this a phablet? Yeah.
Now, a 5.25 phone that actually was the same dimensions as a floppy,
Would be
that's
awesome.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see that. I don't know how much there is to say about the Galaxy Grand 2, but I don't know. Another Samsung Galaxy Samsung's just kind of boring to me these days. Should I not said that out loud? I don't know. There we go. Gina, save me.
Let's talk about another company and another device.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, let's do that. Qualcomm opens pre-orders for its TOC smartwatch. That's TOC with a Q, so TOQ. So all right, cool. We got another Android smartwatch on the scene. It's $349. Pre-orders are open for December 2nd availability. That is very soon. But this isn't a watch that Qualcomm's trying to get on everybody's wrist. Qualcomm is saying that TOC is a proof of concept watch, showcasing Qualcomm capabilities, including low power yet powerful chips, a Mirasol display that features full color screen with minimal energy usage, up to 6 times more power efficient than LCD or OLED. The TOC is said to last for days on a charge. As a result, that's really good and really important for a watch. And it runs Android, and it comes with a wireless charger. So these were kind of two of the biggest problems with the Gear that we saw, right? I mean, battery life was part of it. Wireless charging for me, I think, is really important for watches.
I agree.
And also just that general compatibility. You know, if this is like an open Android watch, then I'm kind of excited about it. $350, proof of concept. This sounds like a for nerds only kind of purchase right now, but it's another option.
Ron, you gonna get one of these?
I'm trying to evaluate whether I want to. I don't know whether it hits all my notes of what I need for a watch or not. It was Qualcomm. I forgot about Qualcomm. It's closer. It's closer.
I mean, a long-lasting battery, like performance built around extended battery life, is very important, like you said, Gina. And then the wireless charging. That just seems like a no-brainer on watch for some reason. The last thing I want to do is take out my watch and then
take the
fiddle
rubber
to find
seal off and plug it in.
Like, oh, totally.
Yeah.
Oh man, shoot me! I don't want to do that.
I feel like this is just the beginning of the coming major storm of smartwatches that will be unveiled at CES in January. Like, it's going to get pretty insane.
Apparently.
We've been predicting that storm of smartwatches, but it's been a disappointing storm so far.
Yeah, it's
still brewing, man.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it would have brewed by now. Yeah.
Smartwatches. I have the Sony Smartwatch 2 that I was handed right before the show. So I'm going to be wearing this at Thanksgiving dinner.
Nice. Well, the Sony smartwatch has a wonderful legacy on this show, so I'll be curious to see how the 2 does.
I know. Shannon asked me, and I was like, yeah, I will wear that. Even though I don't really, I just don't wear watches on my wrist or anywhere else for that matter.
Wait, what does made for Android mean? Does it mean that it's running Android? Or does it mean that it can talk to Android? It sounds like talk to Android.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out in your review.
Yeah. There's much for me to learn about these smartwatch too. I'm going to be doing a lot of homework on Thanksgiving.
Part of me is waiting for Motorola to turn around and be like, hey, we made a Google-friendly, all-you-can-eat watch. I haven't got a watch right now. I'm holding out. So
we'll see. Does the wearable watch, smartwatch thing kind of excite you?
Yeah. My watch broke 6 months ago, and I was thinking, I could go and spend a couple $100s on a piece of jewelry that I'll probably break again, or I can wait until the new year and see what Google do, see what Apple do, see what everyone does, and make a decision. But I think the most interesting folks in this space are really what Pebble are doing, just because they got there first. They've been so committed to sort of continuing to innovate, bring in the ecosystem. Right. We'll see.
Yeah, they haven't just kind of rolled something out and let it lie. Like they're really, like you said, trying to push the boundary a little bit and innovate and get let developers in on the action. And incentivize them a little bit more, or get them excited about it a little bit more. Samsung lets developers in, but I don't know if it necessarily generates a lot of excitement.
I feel like Ron isn't so impressed though.
Yeah, no, I really wanted the Pebble, but the e-ink display, I feel like the Pebble hardware isn't where it's even though they're innovating on what you can do with it, the hardware is kind of falling behind on it. And then meanwhile, Samsung rolls their out, and it's such a closed environment and a closed ecosystem. The device, the hardware is what I wanted, but it's not quite there. It's just that watch thing. It just bugs me. I mean, I'm waiting. If Google's going to do one, I just want them to do it and have it work seamlessly within the Android environment. And if another partner can do it before, I'll give it a shot. So
I just think I've got a few friends who are working on things in this industry, and they all talk about the challenge, which is that you really need to go to a factory, in Asia and say, this is exactly the screen that we want, and we'll take 100,000 of them or 1 million of them, and you've got to take a punt on whether or not that's actually going to fit with the other component that you're building. So it's pretty hard for a startup like Pebble to really innovate in the hardware space. And conversely, Samsung has that muscle, but isn't probably thinking at the same kind of level about how can we really disrupt this? How can we make this the world's best watch? And
their Samsung's using it as another piece on their chessboard to create the S Life experience.
Right.
You know, like they're trying to build this walled garden of Samsung Life, which I'm not a member of. So, I don't know. I've been like this close to getting a Pebble like 2 or 3 times, and I just held back, and I'm just waiting. I'm like you. My watch broke a couple years ago, and I just stopped wearing one. And so it needs to be something great in order to get something back on my wrist again.
This is pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I don't have. I don't have a camera jutting out the side, so I can like go.
Oh,
those things you buy in
unboxing. We're
Sky
getting
Mall.
the preview.
But yeah, there we go. I mean, right off the top, it kind of has Android elements to it. But yeah. So apparently, I'm wearing a watch now, and I will be for the next week. We'll see what I think
I
of
also
that.
have the Google Experience Launcher on my Nexus 7 right now. I followed those links on Fandroid that we talked about, and
Nice.
it looks really nice and it works really
there you
well.
go. There you go.
And this is my first time actually using KitKat. So and I liked it. You hold the thing and you can switch to the thing, the widgets. I like it. So those things totally worked, even though Fandroid is hosting those files on MediaFire, which never really inspires confidence. I went for it and did it, and it totally appears to have worked. So you get all the goodness Graham was talking about in that email. So
at least it was MediaFire, not like Mega Upload or big files.
Because if
with
it
a
was
Z.
Mega Upload, your tablet would just start melting.
I feel like all those sites are just pop-up ads and like prayer. You just like pray that like what you're getting there is okay while you're killing the pop-up ads. So anyway.
Awesome. Well, so you have the Google Experience. I really like the gel launcher. I associate it so directly with the Nexus 5 because it came with it and everything, but I enjoy using that launcher, and I don't want to replace it with like Nova, which I have. You know, I've always replaced my launchers with Nova in the past.
Aviate, man.
And I know Aviate, but I just have to stick close to the.
I'm just jealous that you have the 5. I really want one, but I already feel like I have 7 Android phones, and it's just that moment where I'm like, how do I justify getting another one?
Job, though, Joe. That's
Yeah,
your job.
exactly.
Gotta work on the
179 maybe, but
look, Nexus 5 is the current Nexus hotness. You need it to test your very important app on.
I will
that
tell.
A lot of
I will
Nexus
tell
5
my
users
finance
are,
team.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you got to do.
Next time I'll have one. And it'll be
You also got to get
Nexus
glass tomorrow.
Yes, that's true. They signed off on that. That was good.
Well, that's great. A lot more people are going to be getting in on the glass action. Google has taken, a few things. A few things have happened in the world of glass. First, they've taken one step closer to glass with prescription lenses. They struck a relationship with VSP Global, and they're talking about how they rope the technology into their lenses and frames.
Robert Scoble's going to love that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's been wearing, I think, both for a while.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah, the stacking thing, which never quite worked. Like I tried it with, I wear glasses only like at night and in the morning, and I tried it with my glasses. I was like, wow, if I wore these glasses all the time, this so would not work. Like this just
It's impressive that he's
stupid.
kept at it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it worked perfect for Scoble. Second, though it's a small step, the Mirror API is kind of limited in scope, but Google has opened the Mirror API to all developers, so you can get to work on glassware right away. And finally, and this is kind of, I'm imagining where you kind of got your invite, or maybe you got it through a referral through somebody else. But if you're a developer and you requested more information from Google about Glass, you might be getting an email to expect an invite, or expect an invite into Glass.
They've definitely been ramping up.
Yes, they have.
They have.
And like every week you hear something new on invite.
It's exciting because, we were at Google I/O back in the day, and that was fine. But, a lot of people have been sort of really trying to get their hands on this thing. And it's still pretty restrictive. Even if you have an invite code, you have to be over 18, you have to live in the US, you have to have a billing address here. And
they make you fight to give them $1,600.
They really do. They really do. But it's fun. And I'm excited to go pick it up tomorrow.
I think what I'm so interested in all of this is that they're opening it up, obviously, to more and more people. And we're getting closer to the beginning of the next year, which is when supposedly the consumer version of this is going to come out. And people have, oh, there I am. There I am fitting glass.
Good.
Oh, by the way, I did get a beer when I was there. So
Yeah, you did?
beer is a
Yeah.
lock. Yeah, you'll get beer.
I'm looking forward to my IPA.
So they're doing all these things to bring more and more people in, still costing $1,600, even though we've kind of heard time and time again, it's going to be so much less expensive, probably. No one really knows for sure, obviously. Is there any possibility that this launches at $1,500?
I mean, I hope not. But then again, the Pixel
can't.
was $1,500, right? And
Yeah.
I just think for us, it's if you have some ideas and you're a company that's trying to create new stuff in this kind of space, you need to pay that money. You need to really embrace it. But
Yeah.
For the average Joe, probably not so much. I don't think I'd drop $1,500.
I mean, at what
They
point?
can't. They can't make it 1,500. They want consumer. They just can't. It will fall flat on its face.
Yeah, I completely
Right?
agree.
I mean-
no, I completely agree. I guess what I'm wondering is, where's the cutoff between, all right, you're no longer paying $1,500, and here's the consumer version where you pay a lot less? Because I feel like every month there's still more and more invites going out to new people to get
Right.
on, and it's still at that $1,500 to $1,600 point. Yet we're a year since we started hearing about it. I don't know. Like, I'm wondering when that cutoff is.
I don't think they're going to do
I
it
think-
before Q2. I think, like,
Yeah.
it would be really unfair for them to
Oh,
be charging
absolutely.
people $1,500 and then be like, oh, and P.S. Happy Christmas,
It's
everyone.
January, yes.
Totally. So usually
Well,
what they
it
do,
becomes-
they'll probably announce it at I.O., I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think it becomes more like a supply chain question, where if they've got, because how they bring prices down on products by manufacturing a lot with scale. And so if they are rolling out for a full consumer rollout, the only way they're going to be able to bring that price down is to roll out a lot of them in order to sell them. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've all gotten really used to the preposterousness, is that a word, of the current like Explorer price. I mean, this is let's be honest, and I really like glass. It's an accessory to your phone, much the way a smartwatch is, right? So it kind of has to cost less than your phone, right?
Yeah.
And most people don't spend the $500 or the $400 that we might spend on an unlocked, fancy high-end phone. I mean, it's got to be really cheap, or it's got to be so compelling, and it's kind of neither one of those things right now.
Yeah.
$1,500 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money for like regular people.
Oh, yeah.
Not crazy people like us.
Yeah, I'm certainly not asking because I think that's going to happen. I don't absolutely. They'd be crazy after all this time to end up releasing it at $1,500.
You do get that really fancy Japanese fabric pouch, which
yes.
You can't
awkward-
fold
that
the
awkward-
arms.
It's a clincher.
That awkward
You
pouch.
can't fold the arms of the glasses. Okay, it's got to be under $300.
Yeah, exactly. Give me foldable arms, please. Let's jump into apps. Ron.
hopefully my Skype sounds a little better now.
I think so.
Not?
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
it
Yeah.
sounds better.
So-
You're good.
So we've been anticipating some sort of newsstand related update from Google in the Google Play Store for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
And finally it rolled out. And of course, Google, they like to zig when we think they're going to zag. And not only did they roll out a newsstand app that is designed around delivering subscription-based magazines and newspapers, but they folded the Currents app into it and merged this thing where you can subscribe to magazines and newspapers as well as get news feeds from your favorite websites, which I think honestly is a really interesting take on. They rolled out an app like Currents, which I actually really liked, that nobody used, but had a great design and a great functionality.
Yeah.
And they improved it by adding in the magazine subscription aspect. And now you've got a really great app that can get you some good content. And the Currents, I ported over my website to Currents, and it was one of those Saturday afternoon projects. It was super easy, and I really like the interface, and they've just improved it from here. I see Jason's just showing everybody it.
Yeah, so you've got magazines thrown in there. They're giving away, or at least they were a few days ago, a bunch of magazines, so you should go check it out at the Play Store and download some. And then you've got your different news sources, and you can kind of set up your feeds and everything like that, or read now. Yeah, I like it. It's kind of, I hate to say it, it's kind of overwhelming and jumbled for me when I use it. Like, I go in there to look for something, and I just kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. But you know what? Currents didn't work for me either. Currents, I tried, and it was designed beautifully and everything, but I still had to force myself to use it.
Well, it's essentially their answer to Flipboard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why Flipboard speaks to me a little bit more than this. They're just different.
Can't do it. I've never been able to use Flipboard.
Really?
Because I like to scroll my text when I read it. And
Yeah, and there's something
you have
really-
to flip it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, totally.
But I still miss like the heyday of Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah.
my newsreader of choice back
That
then.
was mine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Consolidation. Earlier today, I was like, okay, so you can't say I'm going to play magazines anymore. And then I realized, oh, well, Play Newsstand isn't any better. The whole Play thing
Play thing. It's very
rarely ever
Microsoft-y.
works. Yes.
You know,
I've
it feels very
trust me,
Microsoft-y.
issues to that. I'll talk about that at the end of the show, but I've got some cool stuff coming in, and that specifically is an aspect of it. But yeah, it can be very frustrating, that Play moniker.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Gina, good news around Allcast.
Yes, Kosh, who is the Rockstar developer of CyanogenMod, he put out Allcast, an Allcast beta, which was an app that let you stream your personal local media files to the Chromecast. And at that time, this was a while ago, and at that time he was using sort of unofficial or undocumented APIs. And then Google made a change and took those APIs away, and Kosh was a little not so happy about that. They seem to work it out. But Kosh is back with a new Allcast Beta 7, which now works with all DLNA capable devices. So that covers the Xbox 360, Roku, Apple TV, Samsung Smart TVs, among others. Chromecast is not supported, which is kind of funny. It feels like this is a little bit of like Kosh's kind of like F you to
Right.
Google. But this is really cool that he's got a demo video up, and the APK is available for download from his Google Plus stream. And it's a beta, and it's going to, as it normally does with apps that he puts out as betas for people to test, it's going to self-destruct December 1st. So if you want to try it out, grab it. And he's got a cool demo. I was like, here's a video of my dog in Dropbox, and I've just sent it to my, I don't know what device he was using, the Roku right there.
Yeah, he showed it off on all four, actually. He showed it off on an Xbox, a Roku, Apple TV, and Samsung Smart TV. And I was just kind of impressed with how quick the pickup on it was. Brian, you were trying to show it, and it's like a minefield. You were hitting right in between every time that he did it, because there's so many in one video. But yeah, pretty impressive stuff.
Do you think he's going to be invited to the Chromecast?
I believe he was. I think I
he was.
remember seeing that posted, and that he said he's not going.
Right. Yeah.
So I think you're right, Gina. It might have been an FU to Google.
It's a little bit like, yay, open standards.
Who knows?
You know?
Yeah.
Versus proprietary APIs.
Yeah.
So, good for him.
I mean, I have to imagine whether he goes or not, if the Chromecast SDK is opened up to everybody, he's probably going to build that into here. He's probably not going to keep it out entirely. At least I hope not, because that was a cool thing, and I want to be able to use it.
Yeah.
Cast media from my device directly onto my TV, and particularly the Chromecast, because I don't have any of these other things. So, but cool stuff. And what else is cool? Everything's cool today. We wondered why, actually, I think a week or two with 4.4 with KitKat, the app ops capability where you could tweak permission on a per app basis seemingly disappeared. It went away, and it was thought that maybe it just was removed entirely. Turns out it's still in there, but now it's even harder to find. It was always kind of a hidden thing before, but now it's even more hidden and hard to find. If you want to find it, all you need to do is go to the Play Store and install the App Ops 4.3/4.4 app. That's the name. It gets you access to those hidden permissions features, and also seems to include the ability to do something really cool, which is toggle a keep awake setting, aka that wake lock setting. So if you want to make sure an app can't wake lock your device and drain your battery, this is going to give you direct access to do that on a per app basis, which is awesome.
Do we have any idea why they took it away?
Well, I'm not sure. That's the thing. It's kind of confusing, because I think when it was discovered in 4.3, it wasn't necessarily something that you could easily get at. Like, it wasn't surfaced easily. And so it was there, it was hiding. I think people weren't aware, weren't sure if maybe Google was waiting on it, or, if it was just meant to be a hidden feature. And now it's just kind of not, that menu isn't accessible. Right. Who knows why they took that menu out? Maybe they don't want people playing around with these kind of permission settings.
Yeah, they don't want you to sort of mess with it.
But it's still in there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. I don't know why that is.
Make it easier for your grandma when she gets to.
She's like, well, what is permissions?
Moto G. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, break your device.
I feel like there comes a point where there's a code freeze and things just aren't quite ready, and Google's like, just leave it in, but hide it for now. And that might have been the case with this.
Right. And then the enterprising hacker people that are going to do it anyways are going to dive in and find these hidden features. They're going to do it anyways, and whatever. Okay, let them play around with it and everything. Kind of like ART, right? It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, sure, we'll let you brick your device, Ron, and then have to maybe not brick it, but have the factory reset.
What's that, Ron? No, I'm just kidding.
Wasn't fun. Was not fun.
But you're back to normal now, right?
Yes, yeah, totally fine, and survived not only surviving, but survived a international trip with it. Used the phone in the UK, and
There's nothing wrong with the UK.
Yeah, more and more every day I use it. I got a bunch of people. I saw a bunch of All About Android fans at the convention I was at in Leeds, and
awesome.
Came up and said hi. And a couple of them were asking to see my phone, so that was pretty cool. So yeah,
right on.
Hey,
that's great.
Yeah. All right, on to an email.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Doug Robinson writes in and says, I've recently switched from being a longtime iPhone user to the new Moto X. I have to say that there's a bit of a learning curve, but I'm very happy with my first Android phone. He could have followed Eric Schmidt's guide. Not too bad. Yeah, so he also says, most of my apps on the iPhone have Android equivalents, so all is good there, although I wish Downcast had an Android version, as I find most of the podcast apps to be a little off from Downcast. Doug, have you tried Pocket Casts? That's my favorite podcast app, so use that one.
Yep, mine too.
It's great. Anyway. I did this. I finally synced it between my tablet and the phone and everything, and it remembers the spot you left off listening. Oh, it's great.
Magical.
It's awesome.
So Doug asks, when I had my iPhone, I used Air Video from InMethod to access media files on my Mac at home running the Air Video server from anywhere I had an internet connection. I really enjoyed this and want to know if there was an equivalent app for the Moto X. And Doug, you're in luck. There it is. You want to find Plex. Plex is an amazing platform that's not just Android specific. They have a whole bunch of different applications across a whole bunch of different platforms. But basically what it is you install a Plex media server on your Mac, and then that allows you to not only stream content from the Mac to local machines through DLNA or through your local network, but also you can access your video content on your media server on the go via the Android app, and it is amazing. Plex is one of those companies that came out and it's like, wow, this is so cool. And if I ever get a free weekend, I'm going to totally convert my entire home entertainment system into a Plex system and all that sort of stuff. But for now, it's great for being able to access content from your local machine somewhere else via the internet on your device. The moment you see it working, it's like magic. Although you probably saw it already with Air Video, but very similar experience as Air Video. So check out Plex. For it to do.
And actually, Wade County points out in the chat room, and Wade County is correct. Plex is on sale right now. It's 60% off for Thanksgiving through Friday the 29th. So you have a couple of days to get it for $1.99, which is, it's one of the more pricey apps just because it's so feature rich. And so you can get it for a lot less right now. So go get that. Go get Plex.
Plex is great. Yeah.
Now, of course, you do need a good connection on both ends, so keep that in mind. Like, if you have a crappy home connection for the content to be served out, you might run into some lag or some problems. But Plex will encode on the fly, so it will take your source file. If you've got a super HD, 720p MKV file on your local machine. And you want to watch it on your phone, it will pick up that you're on a mobile device and it will encode it to a smaller resolution, smaller codec, so that it streams at the best quality that your phone can handle. And it's so cool. So
that's great. And $1.99 is a steal.
On the sale front, I've got to do a plug.
Oh yeah, so we're in app territory right now. So and I was going to ask you this before we got into news, but of course traffic was a little backed up. So let's do it now. So what's kind of major for SwiftKey right now? I know you guys had a new release.
We had one on
update
Monday,
a few days ago.
Yeah, and we had a couple of weeks ago. We had 4.3, which introduced something which we called layouts for living, which is you can just long press on the 1, 2, 3 key, and you can do all sorts of really fancy stuff with the layouts. You can split it in half. You can drag it around the screen and undock it from the bottom, and I can show you if you want.
Yeah, sure.
This is like Joe in plug mode, yay. This is my favorite. So if I make it compact like that, it goes to the side of the screen, which makes it super easy for wider screens like this. But then you can undock it. This is super fun. So you can drag SwiftKey
that's rad.
wherever you want it, and then whenever you come back into your texting environment, you can just say hey, and it will pop back up to wherever it was. So that's pretty fun. Drag it down to the bottom of the screen, it will rejoin. You can long press to switch it from side to side and go back in here, do all sorts of stuff, make it into a thumb mode if you're on a tablet. So you put it in that kind of orientation and put it into a thumb mode. It really helps typing. And the point here was that we were converging the phone and the tablet version into one size fits all for all devices, because as we've spoken about earlier, phablet, whatever it is, no,
they're all those lines are blurring together.
And so what we wanted to make sure is that we are building a keyboard for all devices in the Android ecosystem. What we did as part of this is tons of research and reordered the second screen layout for the punctuation. And actually what we did Monday is realize that even if you do tons of user testing and people really love the new layout that you've got for the second screen, they still get very attached to what it was before. So we just made some tweaks to make the flexibility a little bit better, so you can put the number pad back on the left-hand side if you want to. You can see I've been searching for the 49ers a lot recently.
Well, I noticed that you had typed hey, and then it wanted to suggest dude. So
yeah, I'm just getting
say
far
dude
too Americanized. This is my problem. Like no one is letting me just sort of embrace my British roots. But I just wanted to quickly say that from tonight, maybe tomorrow morning British time, so by tomorrow in the States definitely, we'll be on 25% off for Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
Through the weekend. So it's a good time to pick up SwiftKey if you haven't already. And I just have been told by my developers that we should clarify that if you start to gesture type and go through the space, you can start to input multiple words. That's something we've had for a while. And I know there was a debate when the KitKat keyboard came out about, hey, look what they've done. They've gone through the spacebar to allow you to do multiple words. We've been doing this for...
Yeah, you've been doing that for a while now.
For a while. So the guys were like, make sure you clarify that. I think there was a discussion on This Week in Google about it. So, yeah, it's...
no, absolutely.
We've been doing that too.
Yeah, well,
independent.
Yeah, no, going through the space bar and then of course like the run-on words and having it kind of splinter those out into individual words if you miss space bar, which actually comes in really handy when you're typing super fast, and I do that all the time. So I'm always really impressed that it really does pull that out accurately.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
it's fantastic. I love SwiftKey.
We've been sort of trying to do tons of stuff, and we always want to get feedback. So we've also got some treats coming. Last time I was on the show, someone asked specifically, are you guys doing emojis? And we are doing emojis, and it's coming soon, which is really exciting. It's just one of the things about Android that you may have noticed is that emoji integration has been one of the most sort of trickle down inconsistent things from version to version. So we're trying to get it right in a way that doesn't confuse folks. And on KitKat, you know, the new keyboard has these great big emoji icons that are sort of baked in, and we're going to be there very soon. So hold tight, and we haven't forgotten about that question from back in September when I came in, I think.
Right on. Yeah, emojis are really important to people. I never use them. Okay, show of hands. Who here uses emoji? Huh?
Only when I'm being ironic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being ironic. All right, that works. Scooter X in the chat room apparently uses emoji and knows how to do a thumbs up. I don't even know you can do that. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Well, that's fantastic. I love SwiftKey, and anytime I get a new device, it goes right on. Even though I will say the KitKat keyboard is fantastic. Google's done some great things. Yeah, absolutely. It's their best yet. For some reason, I don't know if it's my mind playing tricks on me or what, but the fact that the SwiftKey keys are bigger, even though the points of touch on the KitKat keys, where they're a little bit smaller and everything, it's probably very similar. Yeah. But it's just, it plays a trick on me, and I have to have those bigger keys. And it's
well, we won't change them. I promise. This is the thing. Like we're learning as we continually try and innovate and try and sort of do things with the keyboard that are kind of cool and exciting. And so undocking is really fun if you are sort of someone that has quite a heavy phone and want to hold it in the middle when you're on the train or something to work. But we got to make sure that we keep certain things stable, because there ain't nothing like someone changing your keyboard. for an unexpected reaction. So we're learning that.
Yeah.
The only other thing with KitKat, though, is Phil Nickinson, who, by the way, sorry about my dreadful facial hair.
Yeah, Phil's going to be very
It's
very upset.
Movember, raising money for charity. If anyone wants to donate, you can. Movember, so mobro.co/Joe Braidwood. But fortunately, this monstrosity is getting taken away at the end of the month, which is only a few days from now. So, but yeah, the only thing that we found with KitKat is that when folks upgrade SwiftKey, it disables it, which is
yes, and I did notice that,
which is a bug. And I'm told that they're looking into sort of rolling out a fix, and it's obviously really frustrating because sometimes when it gets disabled and there's this like beautiful new keyboard that Google have been working on, it's like,
wait a minute,
try this
no,
out.
well, I'm
So
here.
it's tough for us, but
Yeah.
if you just go into your app drawer, you can re-enable it.
Yeah, it was very easy for me to re-enable. It just went right back into settings and activated it again. So
I'm still jealous of the Nexus 5, let's put it that way.
well, I love it. I think it's a fantastic phone, especially coming from the Galaxy Nexus. Boy.
Yeah, that was quite an upgrade for you, Jason.
Very, very much so. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And it gets a lot of hate on the camera. I actually like the camera. I don't know what I'm missing. I mean, it has a little bit of usability issues and an autofocus issue, but the quality of the pictures
feels great in your
think they're
hand
great.
is the thing for me. Like the weighting of it is super nice. Like
Yep.
a solid piece of technology.
Absolutely. Ron, are you still in Moto or Nexus 5 heaven?
Oh yeah, totally. It's beautiful.
Right.
I mean, and I've got no problems with the camera either. I mean, I've been posting my photos on Instagram and on Google Plus as when I can, and I'll let everyone else be the judge. I mean, I think I'm getting the best photos I've gotten in a while. This phone, it's perfect. I mean, I love it. So
Awesome. Well, so that's SwiftKey.net if you haven't been to the site, or you can just go to Play Store and search for SwiftKey and check out the keyboard. It's my favorite.
Thank you.
Yeah, I use SwiftKey on my phone too, and it's pretty mean. The prediction is just is great.
I mean, that's
The
what we
prediction's
really
just
focus
top.
on.
That's your
Yeah.
bread and butter right there,
Yeah,
for sure.
the phrases and the prediction are they're just better.
If you guys ever have any requests about things that you'd like us to work on, always let us know, because we do listen. You see that little community button at the top of our website there. You can go into our VIP community and give us feedback and talk to us about what's going on and what you want from SwiftKey. So make sure you do that if you're a hardcore fan of Android and you really want to sort of get involved with the development process. We're listening in there. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
it was totally one of those first like must install apps when I set up the new phone. And I hadn't played with the settings in a while because I just was using it on my old phone. And it was great to see all the innovations and stuff you guys added on there.
I'm hoping you guys are getting on okay with SwiftKey Cloud too, because folks like you who are switching phones.
Oh yeah, it's pretty awesome there, because so many times I get a test device and have to kind of start from scratch and everything, and now it's pretty darn seamless. So
Awesome.
fantastic.
Well, keep the feedback coming, and thanks for having me on the show. And,
Absolutely.
yeah,
But we aren't done yet.
we're not done.
We have to battle. It's time for the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Last week's episode, we had a straw poll for all the apps that we had on, and it was close. This was kind of close across all three apps, but none attack, run, and gun. Father Robert Ballestaire's app, of course.
I
knew
can't
it.
believe the freaking I was raised Catholic, so I can't be too disrespectful, but I can't believe the nuns beat Star Wars. Come on, people. Come
Yeah, it's not
on.
just nuns, though. It's nuns attacking.
It's nuns with guns. I get it. But Star Wars. Ah.
I know. Hey, well, it was darn close, right? Nun attack, 37%. Star Wars Tiny Death Star, 36%.
6 votes.
Yeah, 6 or 7 votes. It separates. So there
I
you
thought
go.
I had that in the bag.
Yeah, you just never know. You never know, Gina. And then Dayframe, of course, came in last, but still got 28% of the votes. So I don't think there were any real losers from last week, except for me. Okay, so I have the first app as the loser from last week, and I will go ahead and show it off. Mine I'm not sure how I found out about this. I think I found out about it on Reddit somewhere, but it was basically in a conversation around people loving the Moto X and the touchless control and all that kind of stuff. And somebody was like, it's not quite the same thing, but ever since I started using this app called Gravity Screen, it's changed how I use my device. Gravity Screen essentially taps into your phone's kind of detection of movement and the gyroscope and all that kind of stuff, and allows you to place settings on it so that your screen is a little bit more smart. For example, you can set it so that when it detects any movement whatsoever, as if it's in your hand and you're looking at it, the screen will never turn off. You can set it so that when you set it down on a table, it detects that it's on a table and it turns off. When I pick it up, oh, it just turned right on for me. So basically, it's all about that, right? You can set a pocket sensor, which I have off right now, but essentially you turn that on, and what it does is it uses the proximity sensor in combination with what degree your phone is at. So you see how I kind of tilted it down there, and it thought that I was putting it into my pocket, right? So it turns off.
That's cool.
And it's actually very cool, and there's a lot of different kind of options in here. Table sensor, you can set the dimensions on that, so that maybe you need to make it a little bit more liberal or a little bit more exact. Proximity, you can activate any of these things. Turn screen on by motion. So if I have it on the table and it turns off, well, we'll wait for it to turn off, and then I flash my hand over the top of it, it detects that and turns on.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool stuff. And it's free. Like, pretty much you get almost full functionality with free. There is an upgrade, a $1.77 upgrade to Pro, which basically is just for root users. And man, I can't even remember what it was, because when I read what it was, it didn't really seem like anything. I think you know what it is? You can set your screen on time after motion to like unlimited. So you have full control of that over that, as opposed to a certain set, shorter amount of time. But I haven't noticed that being any sort of a block for me. You can tweak the false turn on protection, keep screen on by motion. So you can see how the number is flashing right there. It's detecting my motion, right? So if I try and stay perfectly still, which is really hard to do. So these are all these things happening inside your phone, detecting just different states, and it's happening anyway. So this app is just kind of tapping into it and putting kind of rules around it and saying, oh, so you're moving it slightly? Okay, I'll never turn off the screen then while you're moving it. Very cool stuff. And yeah, I've enjoyed using it. I will say, for my own use case, like, it's been very handy. It does have some false positives, though. Like, I'll set it down on the table when I'm at the TD desk switching a show, and then as I'm moving around, I'm doing things and it comes on, and I don't want that to happen, because then it's just draining battery for no reason. So little things like that. So it definitely takes a little bit of getting in there and tweaking it and everything. I also can't get myself in the habit of not turning off the screen when I do things. Like, I just do it out of habit. So just trusting that, I'm not going to turn off the screen. I'm just going to put it in my pocket and it's going to do it for me. It's really hard for me to it's really hard for me to reprogram myself on that. Some people in the chat room are asking about battery life. I will say that yesterday in particular was probably the day that I used it. I mean, I used it all day, and I had the best battery performance I've had on my Nexus 5 yesterday. I don't know if it's related, but I had screen on of 3 hours and it lasted 18 hours on one charge.
Wow.
I was in Wi-Fi most of the day, so there's always that. But I don't know. Take from that what you will. The one day that I installed this, I had the best battery life I've ever had. So there you go. Gravity Screen On Off is the name of the app. It's free for the version that I have. You can also pay $1.77 for an upgrade to the Pro version, and that's mainly for root users. Check it out. Gravity Screen. That's that. All right, Ron, what you got?
Cool. Yeah. So you might remember a couple of weeks ago when I found the perfect email client for my tablet with Moto Mail. And that kind of scratched my itch. And I was like, well, unfortunately, Moto Mail is in beta and they haven't rolled out a phone version yet. And so I was like, app for my phone, because previously I was using K9 Mail, which was great and very functional, but lacked that kind of design pizzazz, that kind of very niceness that I was looking for in a modern app. And I stumbled upon this app called Soul Mail, S-O-L Mail, S-O-L-M-A-I-L. It's free in the Google Play Store, and we can play the video or show some of the screenshots from the Google Play Store. But basically, it is very simple to set up all of your mail accounts within Soul Mail. Whether it's you have a POP3 or an IMAP through your own server, or if you have Gmail or AOL or Yahoo or Hotmail, God forbid, any of those services, it's super, super simple to just add the accounts and have them appear all in one mailbox. They have the little hamburger menu system, and if you swipe to the left, you pull over the navigation where you can go between all the different folders. You see here in the video, they have swiping from the right, where you can archive mails or archive messages or delete them. They've got all sorts of different ways to filter through your messages, whether they're starred or unread or ones that are only to you. Here you can see they've got fun stickers, which
they're all the rage.
Yeah, it's kind of like emoji for email, whatever. But ultimately, as you can see here, it's just a very nice, clean, well-designed email client, and it basically gets the job done. It took about a minute to set up my account. It handles I have my own personal server, so I'm downloading my messages from there. There were no problems with that. I also added my Gmail account, and that was no problem within there. You can view them all as one just listing of all the mail to all your various accounts, and they have the little icons for what account it's coming from, or you can swipe from the left in the menu and just view the messages for an individual account. It's really intuitive. After a couple, after like a day or so, I just, you get to that point where it becomes natural. You don't even think about it. And you're just like, as I'm downloading messages, I'm swiping them to get rid of them. And replying is really easy, really simple. And it's just a very nice, clean, modern email client, totally for free. So it's Soul Mail, free in the Google Play Store, works great on my Nexus 5. And there you go. Another fun productivity app for you from me. So
it looks awesome. I'm going to download it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, I want a different app than that Gmail app. I want a prettier, different app. So.
Well, I always find the Gmail app kind of really clunky when you try and gesture emails into archive. It kind of pauses for a second, and it's just some of the other apps that do a lot of email optimization, some of the iOS apps especially, are much faster at that. So this looks like it may have solved that problem for me. Looks awesome.
Yeah, check it out.
Cool. Sol Mail, SOL Mail. Right,
yeah.
All one word. There you go. That is free. Awesome. Joe, what do you have today?
I don't know if you guys have heard of Grand Street, but it's this kind of boutique store online, which is a bit like Guilt, but for geeky, awesome gifts. And because it's the holidays coming up, I thought it'd be nice to show an Android-only app for this gift storefront. So if I just load it up here, it's been put together really nicely, and the stuff in here is just so much fun. So, for example, the Internet of Things, eat your heart out. Here is an egg minder tray that monitors the eggs that you are consuming and beams it back to your phone. That's $70. They have these really cool driftwood docks for your phone, for your desk, just to give it a bit of added pizzazz. And just the way that this app is put together, it's nothing that crazy and innovative, but I just thought it was a really nice use of the UX, and it's only on Android, which is really rare for an app like this. So you've got Featured, you've got Holiday Box, where they have a geek meter. So this is a very geeky holiday box of a rainbow cube plus crazy flies, whatever that means. I don't know. I was looking at some of these earlier. You can build Arduino chipset stuff. You can.
Oh, wow.
There's like a barcode scanner that clips to your fridge that you can scan stuff before you toss it, so that it adds to your shopping list. It's just like a really nice kind of curated set of nerdy cool stuff for the holidays. So definitely worth checking out Grand Street.
Nice. That's great. I love it. And yeah, perfect timing for something like that too. Always looking for unique gift ideas, and particularly geeky unique ideas. This is perfect. That's great. So that is cool. Grant Street. Is it Grant? No, it's Grand Street.
Grand,
I have Grand.
Grand Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll change that.
Sorry, is that my accent?
No, that was totally me.
They're headquartered in New York City, in Chinatown, which I think is where Grand is.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty easy name.
Awesome stuff.
The street that they're on, but yeah, it's a great store. I saw it also pop up on Facebook. I think they're doing quite a lot of holiday time advertising because everyone's thinking, what do I get?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So that is Grand Street.
Grand Street.
All right, Gina, you have the last app. Which one do you have?
I did. So got invited to this potluck Thanksgiving dinner last week and was looking around at some of the recipe apps for Android. And I got to tell you, and I feel like this is sort of ripe for a Ron rant, but like Android really kind of gets short shrift in the food apps. Like all these like shiny apps like Cooks Illustrated and How to Cook Everything, Bon Appetit, and Martha Stewart and Chow. They're all just iOS only. So I was sort of on a hunt for a great recipes app on Android, and I came up with All the Cooks recipes, and this is free. Got a really cool avocado icon, which I got to tell you, kind of sold me. Love the avocado icon. And look, it's not a Cooks Illustrated, it's not Bon Appetit, but it's a social community, like user generated content kind of recipe app. If you're just lurking, you can log in and you can search. There's over 150,000 recipes submitted by All the Cooks users. They've got photos, step-by-step instructions, reviews, Q&A. If you log in with Facebook or Google Plus, you can bookmark your favorite recipes. You can post your own recipes. You can share and save links to your friends on allthecooks.com. You can make a shopping list or a meal planner. I honestly mostly used it, and the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because it's Thanksgiving week here in the U.S. and if you need to look for Thanksgiving recipes, there's tons of them in here. I used it really just for that, just to log in and search for Thanksgiving. I was trying to look up like that green bean casserole thing that like everybody makes, and I was able to find it. So you can search by ingredients or food title when you're doing a search, and you can even search for things like diabetic or gluten-free or vegetarian. They suggested even trying baby food. I tried that. It's a little help hit or miss. The closest thing I found to baby food was like homemade Play-Doh, but there's some kind of wacky stuff like that, which I really like.
Beer bread.
Beer bread.
Yeah, it's
with corn in it.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
You'll see like, and with food apps, like there's a big difference between professionally photographed, beautiful food, and then there's like food that people take pictures of, like that regular people take pictures of, and you can see when you get All the Cooks, some of these recipes, sometimes it looks like a mound of goop, and that's just kind of comes with the
sometimes
the
it looks like a delicious mound of goop,
and sometimes it looks like a delicious mound of goop.
This stuff is so new to me, this whole sort of Thanksgiving American thing, and I love it. I went to one of these Friendsgiving things on Saturday, and who knew that you could put marshmallows on top of sweet potato?
Yes, that marshmallow sweet potato thing.
No,
yes,
that's awesome.
Totally, you'll find those in All the Cooks recipes. So
I gotta say, Gina, one thing that's really cool is you adjust the servings and it automatically changes the recipe dynamically in the background.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So it just like scales it up for you. Oh my God, that is so handy. That is so handy.
A couple of years ago, I traveled to the UK and told my friends I would cook them Thanksgiving dinner. They had to like work that day and stuff, and I was stuck because I had to convert all the all my American
Cups
recipes I had to convert to the different the different measurements, and the app will do that for you as well really quickly, which is really nice. So I just thought it was a cool app. It's free with ads. There's a little button that says, "Hey, take away the ads," and I think it's $2.99 upgrade to the ad-free experience. And it looks like there's web integration as well. I think you could post a recipe and then send it or share it with friends on the website. But mostly just use it to kind of look up recipes and get ideas. And if you've got like a few different ingredients in your fridge, you can pop those into and see what you can make. That's All the Cooks recipes.
Man, I love it. This is fantastic. It's just so well laid out, and the conversion, because I don't like math when I'm cooking. I just want to go, just tell me what I need. Exactly. Do I need 2 cups or 3 cups?
You want to be a slave to your device.
All right. Actually, once glass comes out and it kind of extends its capabilities, All the Cooks needs to kind of work that.
Okay,
into
glass. How many cups I got?
Yes, right.
Yeah. They actually have glassware, and on the site they have pictures of some of the cooks wearing glass because they encourage you to take photographs while you cook and then post your step by step. So the glass integration actually makes a lot of sense for something like cooking.
Totally does.
So hopefully they will be in on the new. I think if you scroll down, there's a photo, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a photo of
on Google Glass. There we go.
Get it on glass.
Yeah, this is a good use of the Cards API for Mirror API, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe I'll try it out tomorrow.
Awesome. That seems like that's ripe for the picking.
Or maybe I should just use glass to film this getting taken down. Yeah.
Sorry, Ron. I'm sorry. I did that for you. I knew you would appreciate that. And I'm embarrassed. So there you have it. 4 great apps this week. I got to say, this is an excellent arena here. Gravity Screen, Sol Mail, Grand Street, and all the cooks' recipes. You can vote for your favorite app this week by going to AAApoll.com/137. That's AAApoll.com/137. And let us know which is your favorite. Early returns. Oh, whoa. I kind of didn't expect that. Gravity Screen. It's doing well right out of the gate, but you just never know. You never know.
That's my pick. I think that's what's gonna win, man. That app is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I just installed it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Jealous.
I just keep setting down and picking up my phone.
Yeah, I'll be curious to hear what you guys think, like after a little while of using it, because it does take a kind of a reprogramming of your brain on how you.
I mean, this is the problem I get whenever I'm on the show is you guys have so many apps that I love that have already been reviewed. So I, as much as I think Grand Street is a great store, I've been totally beaten today.
It's hard. I mean, you take a look at our list of apps that have been in the arena. It's yeah.
You got to scour
impressive
the blogs
amount.
and new ones.
It's like, wait a minute. It's been at least 3 apps an episode for 137 episodes, right? And sometimes 4 apps.
Yep.
So that's we've literally done hundreds of apps. It's crazy.
That's cool. So there you have it. Just real quick, next week. Well, okay, so things are kind of getting crazy going forward. Next week and all December, Gina, you're off, right?
I am. I'm moving cross country and kind of couch surfing, and I'll be so I won't be on the show in December, but I'll be back in January.
Okay, so we have a December Gina-less December is what Well, maybe we won't call it that, but we're gonna miss you too.
It's not gonna be that many shows. It's only like 3.
Yeah, there's actually 4 because we actually do have a New Year's Eve show.
That's right.
With our 24 hours of streaming content on New Year's Eve, we're going to be ringing in. Twit is going to be ringing in the top of every hour. A Happy New Year to cover all of the time zones across the world.
That's awesome.
So it's going to be an interesting 24 hours of content. But All About Android will be happening on New Year's Eve. And then, Ron, I think you're on all month in December for the most part.
All December. I'm pretty sure. I got to double check my schedule, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in studio all month. So up until the holidays, and then I'm aiming. As far as I know, I should be in studio for the New Year's Eve show too.
Sweet.
So
That would be awesome. And last week we kind of talked a little bit about our guy Chad, our technical director Chad, and how this week was going to be his last week. Chad failed to tell us that he's actually away on vacation. So his last episode, I think, was last week. So we have our best Chad impersonator / new technical director, Brian Burnett. There you go. Totally has red hair as well. So we still have that, thankfully. Brian, thank you so much for stepping in. And we're going to see about getting you a new phone to replace your Droid Incredible. And then what's up next week? Aaron Newcomb's actually going to step in for the next few weeks to try and fill the void that is left by Gina not being on the show. We also are stoked to welcome Eric Ravenscraft, life hacker. He's going to come on the show next week and talk Android with us. So that should be cool. But as for right now, Joe Braidwood, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Really appreciate you making the trek all the way up here and getting stuck in traffic for us.
We always think it's going to be, you look it up at about lunchtime and it's like, piece of cake. 50 minutes from downtown San Francisco, and then it's like, oh wait, rush hour and traffic. Anyway, but it's always a pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know we've kind of talked a lot about SwiftKey, but this is kind of your last chance to tell people, where they can find all the stuff about SwiftKey and you.
25% off this holiday weekend. Definitely worth checking out. There's a free 1-month version of it if you have never tried SwiftKey before, but it learns all about how you use language to predict your next word and really help you type by changing your keyboard on your Android device. So I love it. I'm really biased, but you should definitely try it out and let me know how you get along with it.
Right on. Thank you again, man. We'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. Let's see here.
Good luck, Gina, for the move.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
So, Gina, where can people find your work while you're away? And
you can find everything that I'm up to on my site at ginatrapani.org. You can find me on Twitter at Gina Trapani or Google+. I'm working really hard on ThinkUp. That's my little startup that hasn't launched yet. That's launching in mid-January. That's thinkup.com. You can the crowdfunding campaign ended, but you can still join. And that's going to launch mid-January. So I'm really, really excited about that. So when I'm not on the shows, I'm furiously coding on ThinkUp. So you should check it out.
Right on. Excellent, Gina. We're going to miss you. Have a good
I'm gonna miss you
Thanksgiving
guys.
and holiday and
Thanks.
move
Yeah,
and
you
all
too.
that. Be
Next time
safe.
we talk, I'll be on the other side.
I know.
It'll be much colder and later where I am.
We're going to have to get used to a different background in your shot.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole different I don't know what that background's going to be, but it's going to be different. I'll have to
Very
bring my
cool.
smiley face. With
Yeah,
the,
exactly.
with
Put it in the
fez,
same
wherever
spot so
I
that we
go.
have some sort of like basis to compare it against. Ron, what about you?
Yeah, so you can find everything / Ron XO. My Google Plus URL is still under review, so I can't point you there. But I'd hoped I'd have something fun and exciting to announce to tie in with my day job for Android folks today, but you just have to wait till tomorrow. So tomorrow, keep an eye on my Twitter at RonXO or my Google Plus page, or keep an eye on Image Comics at Image Comics to see some cool stuff about Image Comics and Android. So.
Right on. Excellent. And thank you, Brian, once again. Appreciate it. I know you don't have a mic on you, but if you do,
You're welcome, Jason.
where can people find you?
Me?
Yes.
Google Plus is probably the best.
There we go. Brian Burnett.
BrianBurnett.com.
Excellent. And he doesn't wear the red wig all the time, for those who are curious. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. I'm on Google Plus. I'm plus Jason Howell there. Also, Yellow Gold Music. My album, as it were, Everyone, launches officially publicly next Monday. And I plan on having it in a lot of different places. So check yellowgoldmusic.com if you're interested. You can actually place a pre-order on that now if you want. But I'm sure I'll talk about that next week. But that is it for this week's episode of All About Android. Leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you guys. 347-SHOW-AAA. You can hit us up on email or a video mail in an email, aaa@twit.tv. Find the show on Twitter. We are at Android Show. We're on Reddit, twitaaa.reddit.com, and show notes and past episodes can be found at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find our past episodes on YouTube, iTunes, all over the map. And finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. See you guys. Woo.
I want to listen to this album now.